Hello. Uh, this happened in 1977-78. We lived on the Stanford campus, and since Varsha was a student, we got a nice, nice living quarters, you know. But anyway, Varsha and I both worked for Natraj restaurant, and life was okay, you know, we're paying fees, spending money, not saving anything, but life was good. We had a good friend, Mohan Bhai and Manju Ben, and they had a nice little motel on El Camino Real in Palo Alto. Mohan Bhai, they still have the motel, really. I mean, after so many years. It was bought in 72, I believe. They still have it, and it's a wonderful little place. But the thing I wanted to talk about is about a young tailor. I wouldn't call him young, okay. I would say he was in his 40s at that time, so a little older than us. He was a tailor, and he used to come all the way from Hong Kong. He would bring with him fabrics for trousers, for shirts, for men. Beautiful material. And he would take measurements, and then he would take some advance money, and he would promise you that the stitched clothes will be delivered like 6 weeks or 2 months later or whatever. And most of the times they did, you know, they were delivered. His first name I've forgotten, but his last name was Ramchandani. And he was quite a guy. Now, the way it happened is he used to come and spend 2 or 3 nights at Mohan Bhai's motel. Reasonably priced, small motel, very convenient, right on the El Camino Real, so he could reach out to a lot of people in that area. And he would naturally eat, Mohan Bhai and Manju Ben, such generous people that they would feed him. He said, okay, you are eating with us. So it worked out well. I think he gave them a freebie, like get a shirt stitched for free or something like that. I don't remember that. But he was a very interesting person. And since he traveled all over America, he had a lot of stories to tell. His family was in Hong Kong, and they were into tailoring business, and was doing it well, you know. So Ramchandani, story I want you to know. Ramchandani is probably one of the, at least I know, pioneers of missed calls. We have this missed call thing going on in India, or maybe in a lot of other countries, but especially in India. It's kind of dying now because calls are free, but when the calls each cost money, we used to make, oh, give me a missed call, or I give you a missed call, you know, stuff like that. But he had a very clever way of sending messages without costing a penny. We were asking him, I said, रामचंदानी, ये आप लोग you know, ये हांगकांग में बात करते हैं तो पैसे बहुत लगते होंगे, वो तो कितना एक्सपेंसिव है. बोलते हैं कि नो 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 नो, वी हैव अ सिस्टम. I said, okay. You know, such things always interest me. When somebody says, I have a system, you need to know what that system is. So he said, okay, बताओ यार क्या होता है? So he just told us that he said, I will be like making rounds, and people who had already ordered, if they haven't received their order, their clothes, they catch me. He said, Ramchandani, हमारा कपड़ा नहीं आया, क्या है ये वो? So I said, well, आना चाहिए. It should have arrived long time ago. Let me call my family in Singapore and find out. So everybody will be very, impressed. Wow, he's going to make a phone call all the way to Hong Kong? It was expensive then. Just for our order? Wow. So what he will do, he would make a person-to-person call, international call, and he would tell the operator not his name, but the name of the customer who was complaining. For example, if it's me, so he would say, this is Jay Tacker calling from Palo Alto, and I want to make a person-to-person call for Mal Bheja in Hong Kong. This is the number. So the operator, poor girl, she would dial the number, and when the Hong Kong party answered, she would say, okay, here is Mr. Jay Thacker calling from United States, person-to-person call for Mr. Malbheja. So the party, Ramchandani's family, they would at once know that, okay, this is the deal. So they would say, no, Mr. Malbheja is not here. Do you want to speak to Mr. Kalbhejega? So the operator in turn will ask Ramchandani. I said, this is what they are saying, sir. You want to speak to Mr. Kalbhejega instead of Mr. Malbheja? He said, no, this was strictly for him. I'll call later, and hang up. So he would tell his client, he said, look, I talked and they said that भेज दिया है, पहुंच जाना चाहिए. If it says कल भेजेगा, that means बोलते हैं कि भाई there is some delay, so few days here or there. So this way he would communicate. And I said, yeah, what if the operator, he said, no, there's so many operators, Bell had a big company, and I would call at different hours, so I don't ever have problems. I said, you are amazing. He said, yeah, वो तो करना पड़ता है, नहीं तो कितना पैसा मेरा तो सब प्रॉफिट इसी में जाएगा. So that was a very clever way of beating the system. And we just laughed. So many other stories he would tell, but this was the most interesting. And I think it's very clever, though it's cheating, but it's still very clever. Mal bheja, kal bhejega. And the person there exactly would know, okay, he is inquiring about Jay Thacker's trousers and his shirt. So if it is already made, kal bheja. If it is not, kal bhejega. Mal bheja, kal bhejega. Something like that. But anyway, isn't that clever? That is very clever. I don't know where Ramchandani is these days. He was especially a blessing to a lot of people who were very fond of custom-made clothes. I was not. I just wore whatever was available there. But I had a few friends who swore by him and wait for him, eagerly to come to San Francisco Bay Area so they could order. And he really did get beautiful clothes done. Really, I've seen them. Yes. If I were fond of good clothes, I would definitely would have ordered clothes from him. But for me, it didn't matter. Anyways, thank you for listening to this. Ramchandani, wherever you are, hope the WhatsApp is helping you, and you don't have to make all these little stories about kal bhejega and mal bheja and all that. Now with WhatsApp, hey, cinch. All right, guys, take care.